The first gunshot shattered the morning calm as Lily Lancaster threw herself over three small children huddled in the doorway of the abandoned church, her heart hammering against her ribs while dust and splinters rained down from the bullet-riddled doorframe above their heads. It was August 1878 in Rawhide, Wyoming, and Lily had arrived in town exactly 3 weeks ago with nothing but a worn carpetbag, her late mother's Bible, and a determination that burned brighter than the prairie sun. The children she protected now, ranging from 5 to 8 years old, had been living in alleyways and under boardwalks, scrounging for scraps and stealing what they could to survive. Nobody wanted them. Nobody cared, until Lily. The gunfight outside was between two drunken cowboys settling some meaningless dispute, but it served as a stark reminder of why these children needed sanctuary. When the shooting finally stopped and the sound of retreating horses faded, Lily stood up, brushing dirt from her simple blue cotton dress. Her green eyes swept over the frightened faces before her. "It is all right now," she said softly, smoothing the hair of the smallest child, a girl named Emma who had lost both parents to cholera. "You are safe here." But even as she spoke the words, Lily knew they rang hollow. This abandoned church with its leaking roof, broken windows, and dirt floor was barely a shelter, much less a home. She had no money, no supplies, and no idea where their next meal would come from. The small savings she had brought from Boston had been depleted within the first week, spent on bread and milk for the growing number of children who appeared at her door. The town of Rawhide was rough, a cattle town where ranchers drove their herds through on the way to market, where saloons outnumbered stores, and where most folks were too busy surviving to worry about orphaned children. When Lily had approached the mayor about funding for her orphanage, he had laughed in her face. "Miss Lancaster, we barely have enough tax money to keep the sheriff paid," he had said, tobacco staining his teeth brown. "Nobody in this town is going to care about a bunch of street rats." But Lily cared. She had been an orphan herself, raised in a strict institution in Boston where children were seen as burdens and treated as such. She had survived through sheer will and the kindness of one teacher who had encouraged her education. When that teacher passed away and left Lily a small inheritance, Lily had decided to head west where the need was greatest. She had heard that frontier towns were full of children who had lost parents to disease, accidents, and violence. She wanted to give them what she had never had: love, safety, and a chance at a real childhood. Now, as she looked around the decrepit church that served as her orphanage, doubt crept in. 7 children called this place home now. 7 hungry mouths to feed, 7 growing bodies to clothe, 7 souls depending on her, and she had exactly 42 cents to her name. Miss Lily. A boy named Thomas tugged at her skirt. He was 6 with sandy hair and a gap in his front teeth. "I am hungry." "I know, sweetheart." "Let me see what I can do." She stepped outside into the bright Wyoming sunshine, shielding her eyes as she looked down the dusty Main Street. The smell of horse manure and wood smoke filled the air. Cowboys lounged outside the saloon even at this early hour. A wagon rattled past, kicking up clouds of dust. Somewhere a dog barked. Lily straightened her shoulders and headed toward the general store. Perhaps Mr. Henderson would extend her credit one more time, though she had no idea how she would ever pay him back. The store was dim and cool inside, packed with barrels of flour and sugar, shelves lined with canned goods, tools hanging from the ceiling. Mr. Henderson stood behind the counter, a thin man with spectacles and a perpetually worried expression. "Miss Lancaster," he said, and his tone held no warmth. "I cannot give you any more credit. Please, Mr. Henderson. The children are starving, just a bit of flour and some beans. I promise I will find a way to pay you back." "You already owe me $17, he said, pulling out a ledger and showing her the numbers. "I am sorry, but I have a business to run. I have my own family to feed." Lily felt tears prick her eyes but refused to let them fall. "I understand. Thank you anyway." She turned to leave, her mind racing through impossible solutions. Perhaps she could take in laundry, though most of the women in town did their own washing. Perhaps she could offer to clean houses, but the respectable families would never hire a woman who associated with orphan children. "Wait," Mr. Henderson called out. She turned back, hope flaring. He looked uncomfortable. "Someone came by this morning, early before dawn. They left this for you." He pulled out an envelope from under the counter. Lily took it with trembling hands. Inside was $50 in crisp bills and a note written in an elegant hand. "For the children." "Who was it?" Lily asked, her voice barely a whisper. "I do not know. They did not want to be identified. Wore a hat pulled low and a bandana covering their face. Just said to give this to the woman running the orphanage. $50. It was more money than Lily had seen in months. It would buy food, blankets, perhaps even glass for the broken windows. "This is a miracle," she breathed. "Sure seems like it," Mr. Henderson agreed, his manner softening. "Now, what do you need?" Lily spent the next hour carefully selecting supplies, making every cent count. Flour, cornmeal, beans, salt pork, canned milk, sugar, coffee for herself. She added needles and thread, soap, and a bolt of cheap cotton fabric she could use to make clothes for the children. Mr. Henderson helped her load everything into a wheelbarrow and even gave her a handful of peppermint sticks for the children at no charge. "Maybe I had this town figured wrong," he said. "If someone is willing to help those kids, perhaps there is more goodness in Rawhide than I thought." As Lily wheeled her precious cargo back to the church, she wondered about her mysterious benefactor. Who, in this rough town, would have both the means and the heart to help orphan children? And why would they want to remain anonymous? Miles outside of town, on the largest ranch in the territory, Austin Oakley sat in his study staring at the leather-bound ledger on his desk without really seeing it. He was 28 years old, owner of the Triple O Ranch, which sprawled across 10,000 acres of prime Wyoming grassland. His cattle numbered in the thousands, his horses were the finest in the territory, and his bank account was substantial enough that he could have lived a life of leisure in San Francisco or Denver if he had wanted. But Austin had no interest in city life. He had been born on this land, the only child of wealthy ranchers who had staked their claim when Wyoming was still wild territory. They had died 5 years ago, within months of each other, his father from a fall from a horse and his mother from grief. Austin had inherited everything at 23 and had worked tirelessly to expand the operation and honor their legacy. He employed 30 men, paid them fairly, and treated them well. He was known as a tough but honest businessman. When he rode into Rawhide to conduct business, people treated him with respect, though few could claim to truly know him. Austin kept to himself, ate his meals in silence, and rode back to the ranch as soon as his business was concluded. But lately, something had been stirring in him. A restlessness. A sense that all his wealth and success meant nothing if he had no one to share it with, no purpose beyond accumulating more of what he already had too much of. 3 weeks ago, he had been in town conducting business at the bank when he had seen a slender woman in a faded blue dress kneeling in the dirt outside the abandoned church. She had been talking softly to a group of filthy, ragged children, and something about the gentle way she touched their faces, the compassion in her voice, had stopped Austin in his tracks. He had made inquiries discreetly. The woman was Miss Lily Lancaster, newly arrived from Boston. She had taken it upon herself to care for the town's orphans and had moved into the old church with nothing but faith and determination. The town council had refused to help her. Most of the townspeople ignored her. But she kept on, somehow gathering more children, somehow keeping them alive. Austin had ridden past the church several times over the following weeks, always at a distance, always observing. He saw her carrying buckets of water from the town pump. He saw her hanging laundry on a rope strung between two posts. He saw the children playing in the dirt yard, their laughter carrying on the wind. And he saw how thin she was getting, how worn her dress had become, how she gave the children what little food she had while eating almost nothing herself. Yesterday, he had made his decision. Before dawn this morning, he had ridden into town with his face covered and left money at the general store. He would do it again, as often as necessary, but he would not reveal himself. The last thing he wanted was gratitude or recognition. He simply wanted to help. Now, as he sat in his comfortable study with its leather chairs and Persian rug, Austin found his thoughts drifting back to the woman with green eyes and auburn hair. There had been something in her face, a strength and tenderness combined, that had touched something deep inside him. But he was not a man who knew how to approach a woman with anything other than awkwardness. He was better with horses and cattle than people, better with numbers than words. A knock on the door interrupted his thoughts. His foreman, Jack Riley, stuck his head in. "Boss, we have got trouble at the north pasture. Looks like rustlers hit us last night, maybe 50 head missing." Austin stood immediately, his mind shifting to business. "Get 10 men ready to ride. We will track them." But even as he strapped on his gun belt and headed out, part of his mind remained on the orphanage and the woman who ran it with nothing but faith to sustain her. Back at the church, Lily was kneeling on the floor, measuring Emma for a new dress. The children had enjoyed a real meal for the first time in days, and their spirits were high. Thomas and another boy named Samuel were playing with sticks outside, pretending to be cowboys. 3 other children, siblings named Mary, Peter, and John, were helping Lily organize the supplies she had brought back from the store. "Miss Lily, who do you think gave us the money?" Mary asked. She was 8, the oldest of her siblings, and had been taking care of Peter and John on the streets before Lily found them. "I do not know," Lily said honestly, "but whoever it was must be a very kind person." "Maybe it was God," Emma suggested, her small face serious. "Maybe God sent them," Lily agreed, smiling. She had been raised to believe in divine providence, though her faith had been tested many times. Perhaps this was evidence that someone was watching over them after all. Over the next weeks, more mysterious donations appeared. Sometimes money was left at the general store. Sometimes supplies would appear on the church doorstep before dawn. Once, Lily woke to find a stack of lumber beside the building, enough to begin repairs on the roof. The townspeople began to notice. Women who had previously crossed the street to avoid Lily now nodded in greeting. Mr. Henderson extended credit freely, knowing it would be covered. Even the mayor, when Lily passed him on the street, tipped his hat. But Lily remained focused on the children. She spent her days teaching them to read and write, using her mother's Bible and any newspaper she could find. She taught them arithmetic by having them help measure ingredients for cooking. She taught them hymns and manners and the importance of honesty and hard work. At night, when they were all asleep on the bedrolls she had purchased with the donated money, Lily would sit by the window and wonder about her anonymous benefactor. She prayed for them every night, asking God to bless whoever was showing such extraordinary kindness. What she did not know was that Austin Oakley had begun timing his trips to town to coincide with the hours when she would be at the town pump getting water. He would watch from a distance as she worked, admiring her grace and strength. He told himself he was simply checking on his investment, making sure his money was being used well. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. One September afternoon, Austin was in town conducting business with his lawyer when he saw a commotion outside the church. A group of rough-looking cowboys, clearly drunk despite the early hour, were harassing Lily as she carried buckets of water. The children had scattered inside, but Lily stood her ground. "This here is a respectable place," she was saying firmly, though Austin could hear the tremor in her voice. "I must ask you to leave." "Respectable," one of the cowboys laughed, a mean sound. "It is a falling-down wreck full of brats. You are wasting your time, lady." "Yeah," another chimed in. "Nobody wants those kids. You should stop fighting a losing battle." Austin felt something hot and protective surge through him. He was moving before he realized it, his long strides eating up the distance between them. "The lady asked you to leave," he said, his voice quiet but carrying absolute authority. The cowboys turned, and their expressions changed when they recognized Austin Oakley. Everyone in the territory knew of him, knew his reputation as a fair man but not one to be crossed. "Mr. Oakley," the first cowboy said, suddenly uncertain, "we were just having some fun." "Find your fun elsewhere," Austin said. "Now." They left quickly, stumbling over themselves in their haste. Austin turned to find Lily staring at him, her green eyes wide. Up close, she was even lovelier than he had realized. Her auburn hair was coming loose from its pins, curling around her face. Her skin was sun-touched and dusted with freckles. Her lips were full and pink, slightly parted in surprise. "Thank you," she said softly. "I am grateful for your intervention." Austin realized he was staring and looked away, feeling heat creep up his neck. "Are you all right?" "Yes, I am fine." They were more bark than bite, I think, but the children were frightened. "You should not have to deal with such behavior," Austin said, and then, surprising himself, he added, "If you have any more trouble, send word to the O Ranch. My men will come." Lily tilted her head, studying him with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. "You are Austin Oakley. I have heard of you. Nothing too terrible, I hope." A smile tugged at her lips. "I heard you are a fair man, a good employer, someone to be respected." "I try to do right," he said, feeling foolish. He was usually articulate in business matters, but this woman turned him into a tongue-tied boy. "I am Lily Lancaster," she said, setting down her buckets and extending her hand. When Austin took it, the touch of her skin against his sent a jolt through him. Her hand was small and work-roughened, and he held it a moment too long before releasing it. "I know," he said, and then realized how that sounded. "I mean, I have heard of your orphanage. What you are doing is admirable." "It is necessary," Lily said simply. "These children need someone to care for them. I wish I could do more, but resources are limited." Austin thought of all the money he had sent anonymously, all the supplies that had mysteriously appeared. She had no idea she was talking to her benefactor, and something made him want to keep it that way. If she knew, it would change things between them. She might feel obligated to him, or worse, might think he expected something in return. "Perhaps more help will come," he said carefully. "It already has," Lily said, her face lighting up. "Someone has been leaving donations, money supplies. I do not know who, but they have saved us. Without their help, we would not have survived." The gratitude in her voice made Austin's chest tight. "They must think it is a worthy cause." "It is a miracle," Lily said. "I pray for them every night. Whoever they are, they have given these children a chance at life." Austin wanted to tell her then, wanted to see her face when she realized he was the one who had been helping, but he held back. This was not about earning her gratitude. It was about doing what was right. "I should get back to my business," he said reluctantly, But remember what I said. If you need help, send word to the ranch. I will. Thank you, Mr. Oakley. He tipped his hat and walked away, very aware that she was watching him. His heart was beating faster than it had any right to, and he could not stop replaying the conversation in his mind. He had spoken to her, touched her hand, seen her smile. It was ridiculous how affected he was. Austin Oakley, successful rancher, feared and respected throughout the territory, reduced to a nervous fool by a slender woman with kind eyes. That night, as Lily tucked the children into their beds, Emma said, "Miss Lily, that man today was nice. He is handsome too." Lily felt her cheeks warm. "Hush now, time for sleep." "But he is," Emma insisted. "And he looked at you the way Papa used to look at Mama before they died." "That is enough," Lily said gently but firmly. "Close your eyes." But after the children were asleep, Lily found herself thinking about Austin Oakley. There had been something in his dark eyes, a kindness that contrasted with his rough exterior. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with the weathered look of a man who worked outdoors. His hands, when they had touched hers, had been calloused but gentle. She shook her head, dismissing such thoughts. She had no time for romantic notions. Her life was dedicated to these children. Besides, a man like Austin Oakley would have no interest in a woman like her. He was wealthy and successful while she was barely surviving on charity. Still, she had to admit, Emma was right. He was handsome. October brought cooler weather and new challenges. 2 more children arrived at the orphanage, siblings who had been traveling with a wagon train when their parents died of fever. That brought the total to 9 children, and the church was becoming cramped. Lily had been using the donated money carefully, but it was running low again. She had been rationing food and doing without coal for heating, hoping to make their resources stretch. When she went to the general store hoping for more mysterious donations, Mr. Henderson shook his head. "Nothing today, Miss Lancaster, but I can give you credit if you need it." Lily hesitated, then accepted. She had to feed the children. That night she sat by the window after the children were asleep, worry gnawing at her. What if the donations stopped? What if her mysterious benefactor had given all they could? How would she manage? She was so lost in thought that she almost missed the figure on horseback approaching the church in the moonlight. Lily stood quickly, her heart racing. It was too late for visitors. Was it trouble? The rider stopped outside and dismounted. Even in the darkness, she could see it was a man, tall and broad-shouldered. He was carrying something, a large sack that he set down by the door. Then he remounted and rode away before Lily could get outside. When she opened the door, she found a sack of oats, another of cornmeal, and a thick wool blanket. And tucked into the blanket was an envelope containing $30. Lily sank to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she whispered into the night. "Whoever you are, thank you." What she did not see was Austin Oakley, stopped on the ridge above town, looking back at the church. He had seen her silhouette in the window, had seen her come outside. Even from this distance, he could tell she was crying, and it made his heart ache. He had fallen in love with her. He could no longer deny it. Somewhere between watching her care for orphan children and speaking to her that day outside the church, he had lost his heart to Lily Lancaster. But what could he do? He was a rancher, a man of business and practicality. He knew nothing about courting a woman, especially one as good and kind as Lily. What would he even say to her? How could he approach her without revealing he was her anonymous benefactor? And if he did reveal it, how would she react? Would she see it as manipulation? Would she feel obligated to him? The thought of her being with him out of gratitude rather than genuine feeling was unbearable. So Austin continued as he had been, sending money and supplies anonymously, protecting her from a distance. and aching with a loneliness he had never truly acknowledged before. By November, the orphanage was thriving. Lily had managed to repair the roof with the donated lumber, and the church was now weatherproof. She had sewn new clothes for all the children, and they had enough food to eat properly. The children were learning their letters and numbers, and Lily had even started teaching them songs. The town was beginning to embrace the orphanage. Women donated cast-off clothes. The baker sometimes sent over day-old bread. The doctor, an older man named Dr. Carter, began stopping by once a week to check on the children's health at no charge. "You have done something remarkable here, Doctor," Carter told Lily one afternoon. "These children are healthy and happy. That is no small feat." "I have had help," Lily said. "Without my anonymous benefactor, none of this would be possible. Still, it takes more than money to make a home. It takes love, and you have that in abundance." Lily smiled, watching Thomas help Emma with her letters. "They deserve a chance at a good life. Every child does." That evening there was a knock at the door. When Lily opened it, she was surprised to find Austin Oakley standing there, hat in hand. "Mr. Oakley," she said, her heart doing an unexpected flutter. "What brings you here?" He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. "I was wondering if you might need any help. I have men who could do repairs if there is anything that needs fixing." Lily studied him curiously. He seemed nervous, which was at odds with his reputation as a confident businessman. "That is very kind of you. Actually, there is a broken window in the back that I have been unable to fix. The wood frame is rotted." "I will send someone tomorrow to repair it," Austin said quickly. "You have already done so much," Lily said. "You chased off those men who were bothering us. You should not feel obligated to do more." "It is not obligation," Austin said, and then seemed to struggle for words. "I admire what you are doing. Not many people would take on such a responsibility." "Will you come inside?" Lily asked. "I was just making coffee." Austin hesitated, then nodded. He followed her into the church, removing his hat. The children looked up curiously. He stood awkwardly, this big man in their small space, looking around at the neat rows of bedrolls, the makeshift kitchen area, the slates the children used for their lessons. "Children, this is Mr. Oakley," Lily said. "He is a rancher and a friend." Thomas stepped forward boldly. "Do you have horses, Mr. Oakley?" A hint of a smile touched Austin's lips. "I do, many horses." "I want to be a cowboy when I grow up," Thomas announced. "That is good work," Austin said. "Honest work." Lily poured coffee and handed Austin a cup. Their fingers brushed, and she felt that same jolt she had felt the first time they touched. From the way his eyes widened slightly, she thought he felt it too. They sat on the church's only 2 chairs while the children played quietly, sneaking glances at the tall stranger in their midst. Austin sipped his coffee and asked Lily questions about the orphanage, how many children she had, what their needs were, what her plans for the future entailed. "I hope to expand eventually," Lily said. "This space is adequate for now, but if more children come, we will need a larger building. I dream of having a real house, with enough rooms for everyone, a proper kitchen and a schoolroom. But that requires money I do not have." "Your benefactor might help with that," Austin suggested carefully. "Perhaps," Lily said, "though I feel guilty relying so heavily on their generosity. I wish I knew who they were so I could thank them properly, so I could tell them what a difference they have made." Austin looked down at his coffee. "Maybe they already know." "I hope so," Lily said softly. "I pray for them every night. I ask God to bless them and keep them safe, and to let them know how grateful I am." Something in Austin's chest felt like it was breaking open. He had never been prayed for before, not that he knew of. The idea that this woman who had so little was asking blessings on his behalf moved him more than he could express. "I am sure your prayers are heard," he managed to say. They talked as the evening grew darker. Austin found himself relaxing, telling Lily about the ranch, about his parents, about the challenges of managing such a large operation. Lily told him about growing up in the orphanage in Boston, about the teacher who had believed in her, about her journey west. "I wanted to make a difference," she said. "I wanted to give children what I had longed for as a child, a place where they were not just fed and housed, but loved." "You are giving them that," Austin said. "Anyone can see how much they love you." Lily smiled, and Austin thought it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. When he finally stood to leave, the children had long since fallen asleep. He and Lily had been talking for hours, and Austin could not remember the last time he had felt so comfortable with another person. "Thank you for the coffee," he said, "and the conversation." "Thank you for listening," Lily said. "It is nice to talk to another adult. I love the children, but I sometimes forget what it is like to have a real conversation." "I could come back," Austin heard himself say, "if you would like to talk again." Lily's smile widened. "I would like that very much." As Austin rode home under the stars, he felt lighter than he had in years. He was falling deeper in love with Lily Lancaster, and for the first time he wondered if maybe, just maybe, she might come to care for him too. November turned to December, and Austin found excuses to visit the orphanage several times a week. He brought supplies, always claiming they were excess from the ranch. He sent his men to make repairs. He even arranged for a load of coal to be delivered for heating through the winter. Lily accepted his help with grace, never questioning why he was being so generous. The two of them spent long evenings talking after the children were asleep, sharing stories and dreams and slowly, carefully, opening their hearts to each other. But Austin still had not revealed that he was her anonymous benefactor, and the secret weighed on him. Several times he came close to telling her, but always he held back, afraid of how she might react. The children adored Austin. Thomas followed him around whenever he visited, asking endless questions about horses and cattle. Emma insisted on showing him her improved reading skills. The other children vied for his attention, and Austin found himself charmed by their antics. He had never thought much about having a family of his own. After his parents died, he had been too focused on the ranch to consider marriage and children. But now, watching Lily with these orphans, he began to imagine a different kind of future. One where he came home to a house full of laughter and love. One where Lily was his wife and these children were his to protect and provide for. It was a terrifying and wonderful vision. One cold December evening, Austin arrived at the orphanage to find Lily outside, struggling to carry a heavy bucket of water that had frozen around the edges. Without a word, he took it from her. "You should not be doing this alone," he said. "I manage," Lily said, but she was shivering in her thin shawl. Austin set the bucket down and, without thinking, removed his heavy coat and draped it around her shoulders. It swallowed her small frame, and she looked up at him with surprised gratitude. "You will be cold," she protested. "I will be fine," he said. "Come inside before you freeze." Inside, the children were eating a simple supper of beans and cornbread. Austin noticed that Lily had only a small portion on her plate, and he frowned. "You need to eat more than that," he said. "I am fine," she said. "The children need it more." "You are getting too thin," Austin said, his voice sharper than he intended. "If you do not take care of yourself, you will not be able to take care of them." Lily looked startled by his vehemence. Then her expression softened. "You sound worried." "I am," Austin admitted. "I care about what happens to you." Their eyes met, and something shifted between them. The air felt charged with unspoken feelings. Lily's cheeks flushed pink. "I care about what happens to you too," she said softly. Austin's heart was pounding. This was the moment. He should tell her everything. Tell her he was her benefactor. Tell her he loved her. Tell her he wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. But Thomas chose that moment to knock over his milk, and the moment was broken. Lily hurried to clean up the mess, and Austin helped, and by the time things were settled, the courage had left him. He stayed late that night, helping Lily wash dishes and prepare the children's lessons for the next day. They worked side by side in comfortable silence, their hands occasionally brushing, each touch sending sparks through Austin's nerves. "You do not have to help so much," Lily said as they finished. "You have your own responsibilities at the ranch." "I want to be here," Austin said. "I want to help." "Why?" Lily asked, turning to face him. "Why have you been so kind to us?" "Because I love you," Austin thought. "Because you are the most remarkable woman I have ever met. Because the thought of you struggling alone keeps me awake at night." But what he said was, "Because what you are doing matters. Because these children deserve a chance. Because you deserve support." Lily stepped closer to him. They were standing very near each other now, close enough that Austin could smell the faint scent of lavender soap on her skin. Her green eyes were searching his face. "Sometimes I think there is more to it than that," she said quietly. Austin's breath caught. "Lily." The way he said her name, soft and full of longing, made her eyes widen. For a moment they stood frozen, the space between them charged with possibility. Then Austin did what he had been wanting to do for weeks. He cupped her face gently in his hands and kissed her. Lily melted against him, her hands coming up to grip his shirt. The kiss was sweet and tender, full of all the feelings Austin had been holding back. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "I have wanted to do that for so long," Austin confessed. "I have wanted you to," Lily whispered. They kissed again, longer this time, and Austin felt like his heart might burst from happiness. When they finally stepped apart, Lily was smiling, her face radiant. "I did not think you felt this way," she said. "I thought I was just another person you were helping." "You are so much more than that," Austin said. "Lily, I have fallen in love with you. I know I am not good with words, and I know I am just a rough rancher, but I care for you more than I can express." "You are not just anything," Lily said, touching his face. "You are kind and good and generous. You have been there for us when no one else would. And I have fallen in love with you too." Hearing her say those words made Austin feel invincible. He pulled her close, holding her against his chest, and she wrapped her arms around his waist. "I want to be with you," he said into her hair. "I want to help you with the orphanage. I want to be part of your life." "I want that too," Lily said. "But Austin, you have to understand these children are my responsibility. I cannot abandon them." "I would never ask you to," Austin said. "I love that you care for them. It is one of the things I love most about you." They stood holding each other for a long time, both marveling at this new development. Finally, reluctantly, Austin pulled away. "I should go," he said. "It is late. But Lily, I want to court you properly. I want to do this right." "I would like that," Lily said, her smile bright enough to light the dark church. As Austin rode home that night, he felt like he was flying. She loved him. Lily Lancaster loved him. The woman who had captured his heart with her strength and compassion loved him back. But the secret of his anonymous donation still weighed on him. He needed to tell her. He wanted no secrets between them. Tomorrow, he decided. Tomorrow he would tell her everything, but the next day brought unexpected complications. Austin was at the ranch when one of his men rode up fast, looking worried. "Boss, there is trouble in town. Someone is saying the orphanage is not legal, that Miss Lancaster has no right to keep those children. The mayor is talking about shutting it down and sending the kids to an institution in Cheyenne." Austin felt ice flood his veins. "What? On whose authority?" Some traveling judge came through. Someone complained about the orphanage, said it was not proper for an unmarried woman to be living with all those children without oversight. The judge agreed, said she needs to be married or have an official license from the territory, which costs money she does not have. Austin was already moving, shouting for his horse to be saddled. "Get Jack and 5 other men. We ride to town now." He made it to Rawhide in record time, his heart pounding with fear and anger. When he reached the church, he found a crowd gathered. Lily was standing in the doorway, pale but resolute, the children clustered behind her. The mayor and a stern-looking man in a judge's robe stood in front of her. "This is not legal," the judge was saying. "These children must be placed in proper institutional care." "This is proper care," Lily said, her voice shaking but firm. "They are fed, clothed, educated, and loved. What more could an institution provide?" "Proper oversight," the judge said. "You are an unmarried woman with no legal standing. The law is clear." Austin pushed through the crowd. "What law?" Everyone turned to look at him. The judge frowned. "And you are Austin Oakley. I own the O Ranch, and I want to know what gives you the right to threaten these children." "I am enforcing territorial law," the judge said stiffly. "Miss Lancaster has no legal authority to run an orphanage." "Then I will provide it," Austin said. He turned to Lily, his heart in his throat. This was not how he had planned this, but he could not let her lose the children. "Lily, will you marry me?" the crowd gasped. Lily stared at him in shock. "What?" Austin stepped closer, taking her hands. "I love you. I was going to ask you properly, with flowers and pretty words, but we do not have time for that. If you are my wife, you will have all the legal standing you need. The ranch will back the orphanage. No one will be able to touch these children." Tears were streaming down Lily's face. "Austin, say yes," he said softly. "Please. I know this is sudden, but I meant what I said last night. I love you, I want to be with you, and I will do whatever it takes to protect you and these children." "I love you too," Lily said, her voice breaking. "Yes, yes, I will marry you." The crowd erupted in murmurs, but Austin did not care. He pulled Lily into his arms and kissed her right there in front of everyone. When they broke apart, he turned to the judge. "There. She is going to be my wife. Is that legal standing enough for you?" The judge looked frustrated but could not argue. "If you marry, then yes, the orphanage can continue, but it must be a real marriage, properly documented." "It will be," Austin said firmly. "We will marry today if necessary." "Tomorrow," Lily said, finding her voice. "We will marry tomorrow. That gives us time to arrange it properly." The judge nodded curtly and left, the mayor following. The crowd slowly dispersed, though everyone was clearly buzzing with the news that Austin Oakley, the wealthiest rancher in the territory, was marrying the orphanage woman. When they were finally alone, Lily pulled back to look at Austin. "Did you mean it, or was it just to save the orphanage?" "I meant every word," Austin said. "I love you, Lily. I have loved you for months. I was going to ask you to marry me, just not like this. I wanted to do it right." "This was right," Lily said, laughing through her tears. "This was perfect. You rode in like a hero and saved us." "You are the hero," Austin said. "You are the one who gave everything for these children. I just want to be part of that. I want to be your partner." "I want that too," Lily said. She hesitated, then added, "But Austin, I need to know. Is this really what you want? A ready-made family, 9 children. It is a lot to take on." Austin looked past her at the children who were watching with wide eyes. Thomas was grinning. Emma was crying happy tears. The others looked hopeful and scared at the same time. "It is exactly what I want," Austin said. "I did not know it until I met you, but this is what I have been missing. Not just a wife, but a family. A purpose beyond just running the ranch. You and these children have given my life meaning." Lily threw her arms around his neck. "I love you so much." "I love you too," Austin said, holding her tight. And Lily, there is something else I need to tell you. She pulled back, looking at him curiously. What? This was the moment. Austin took a deep breath. I am your anonymous benefactor. I am the one who has been leaving money and supplies. It has been me all along. Lily's eyes widened. What? You? I saw you when you first arrived in town caring for the children. I could see how much you needed help, but I did not know how to approach you. So I started leaving donations anonymously. I have been doing it for months. Lily stepped back, her expression unreadable. Austin felt panic rise in his chest. Had he made a mistake telling her all this time? She said slowly. The money, the supplies, everything, it was you. Yes. I should have told you sooner. I wanted to, but I was afraid you would feel obligated to me, or that you would think I expected something in return. I just wanted to help. Lily was silent for a long moment, and Austin felt his heart sinking. Had he ruined everything? Then she started laughing. Not bitter laughter, but genuine, joyful laughter. All this time I have been praying for my benefactor, asking God to bless them and keep them safe, and it was you, the man I fell in love with. Relief flooded through Austin. You are not angry, Austin, you saved us. You gave us a chance to survive. How could I be angry? She shook her head, still smiling. Though I do wish you had told me sooner, I have been wondering who you were for so long. I am sorry, Austin said. I should have been honest from the start. You are being honest now, Lily said. And that is what matters. She took his hands. Austin Oakley, you are the most generous, kind man I have ever met. You have given everything to us and asked for nothing in return. I cannot believe I am lucky enough to marry you. I am the lucky one, Austin said, pulling her close again. I get to marry the woman I love and become a father to 9 amazing children all at once. The children, who had been watching the whole exchange, suddenly rushed forward, surrounding Austin and Lily in a chaos of hugs and excited voices. You are going to be our father? Thomas asked, looking up at Austin with shining eyes. If you will have me, Austin said, his voice rough with emotion. Yes, the children chorused. Austin found himself surrounded by small bodies, all trying to hug him at once. Emma was crying. Mary was laughing. Even the quieter children were grinning. Lily stood beside him, tears of joy streaming down her face, and Austin realized this was what happiness felt like. Real, complete happiness. The next day, Austin and Lily were married in the church that had served as the orphanage. The whole town turned out, curious to see the unlikely union between the wealthy rancher and the woman who cared for orphans. Dr. Carter stood up with Austin. Mary stood with Lily, her face glowing with happiness. The ceremony was simple but beautiful. Lily wore a dress that one of the town women had donated, a simple white cotton that had been altered to fit her. Austin wore his best suit, his hair neatly combed, his hands shaking slightly as he placed a gold ring on Lily's finger. I promise to love you, protect you, and stand by you for the rest of my life, he said, his voice strong and clear. You and these children are my family now, and I will do everything in my power to give you all a good life. Lily's vows were equally heartfelt. I promise to love you, to be your partner, and to build a life with you. You have given me and these children everything, and I will spend the rest of my life showing you how much that means. When the preacher pronounced them husband and wife, Austin kissed Lily with a tenderness that made several women in the crowd dab at their eyes. The children cheered. Even some of the rough cowboys in attendance looked moved. After the ceremony, there was a small reception. The townspeople had contributed food, and for the first time, Lily saw how the community was rallying around the orphanage. Women who had ignored her before now offered congratulations. Men shook Austin's hand and told him he was a lucky man. As evening fell, Austin loaded Lily and the children into 2 wagons he had brought from the ranch. They were leaving the church behind. Austin had prepared a surprise. "Where are we going?" Lily asked as they drove through the darkening landscape. "Home," Austin said simply. When they arrived at the Tripolo Ranch, Lily gasped. The main house was lit up, and several of Austin's men were standing outside, smiling. "Welcome home, Mrs. Oakley," Jack Riley said, tipping his hat. But Austin drove past the main house to another building that Lily had not noticed before. It was a newly constructed house, smaller than the main house but still substantial, with a wide porch and smoke rising from the chimney. "Austin, what is this?" Lily asked. "Our home," he said. "I have been having it built for the past month. I was going to surprise you with it when I asked you to marry me, but things happened faster than I planned." He helped her down from the wagon. "It has 6 bedrooms, a real kitchen, a parlor, and a schoolroom, enough space for all of us with room to grow if more children come." Lily was crying again, but these were happy tears. "You built us a house." "I built us a home," Austin corrected. He led her inside, the children following in an excited cluster. The house was beautiful, simple but well made, with wooden floors and plastered walls. There was furniture in every room, beds for all the children, a large table in the kitchen. A fire crackled in the parlor fireplace, making everything warm and welcoming. "This is ours?" Emma asked in wonder, touching the soft quilt on one of the beds. "This is ours," Austin confirmed. "You are all part of this family now. This is your home." The children scattered, exploring every corner of the house with shouts of joy. Lily stood in the parlor, looking around at the space Austin had created for them, and felt overwhelmed with gratitude and love. "I cannot believe you did this," she said when Austin came to stand beside her. "I told you I want to be your partner in this," he said. "I want to give these children the best life possible, and I want to give you the life you deserve." Lily turned to him, placing her hands on his chest. "I already have everything I deserve. I have you." Austin kissed her, soft and sweet, then deeper as she pressed closer. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "The children," Lily said, glancing around, "are occupied," Austin said, his voice husky, "and it is our wedding night." Lily blushed but smiled. "So it is." They made sure the children were settled into their new beds, answering questions and soothing excited nerves. Finally, all 9 children were tucked in, spread across 3 bedrooms. Austin and Lily retreated to their own room at the end of the hall. It was a simple room but comfortable, with a large bed covered in quilts, a wardrobe, and a window that looked out over the ranch. Lily stood by the window, suddenly nervous. Austin came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "Are you all right?" "I am perfect," Lily said, leaning back against him. "I am just having trouble believing this is real. Yesterday I was terrified of losing the children. Today I am married to you and we have a beautiful home and everything is different." "Good different?" Austin asked. "The best different," Lily confirmed. She turned in his arms. "I love you, Austin Oakley." "I love you, Lily Oakley," he said, and the sound of her new name on his lips made her heart soar. They came together slowly, tenderly, learning each other in the soft lamplight. Austin was gentle and patient, and Lily felt safe and cherished in his arms. Their lovemaking was sweet and passionate, a physical expression of the love that had been growing between them for months. Afterward, they lay tangled together, Lily's head on Austin's chest, his arms wrapped around her. "I never thought I would have this," Austin said into the darkness. "A wife I loved, a family. I thought I would spend my life alone, focused on the ranch." "I never thought I would have it either," Lily said. "I thought I would dedicate my life to the children and never have love for myself." "Now we have both," Austin said. "Love and family." Now we have everything, Lily agreed. Over the following months, life at the O Ranch settled into a wonderful rhythm. The children thrived in their new environment. Thomas started helping the ranch hands with small tasks and learning to ride horses. Emma became attached to the chickens Lily started keeping. The other children found their own interests and responsibilities. Lily ran the orphanage from the ranch, and with Austin's financial backing, it became more established. They officially registered it with the territory, ensuring no one could threaten to close it again. Word spread, and more children arrived, orphans from across Wyoming who needed a home. Austin expanded the house to accommodate the growing numbers. He also built a proper schoolhouse on the property and hired a teacher to help Lily with the children's education. The orphanage became known throughout the territory as a place where children were not just cared for but truly loved. Austin discovered he had a gift for working with the older boys, teaching them ranching skills and giving them a sense of purpose. Several of the boys he had trained went on to become skilled ranch hands, working for Austin or other ranchers in the area. Lily bloomed under Austin's love and support. She no longer had to worry about where the next meal would come from or whether they would have a roof over their heads. She could focus entirely on nurturing the children and building a real home. The townspeople of Rawhide came to see the orphanage as a point of pride. They held fundraisers to support it. Women donated clothes and food. Men offered their skills for repairs and improvements. What had started as Lily's lonely mission became a community effort. Through it all, Austin and Lily's love deepened. They worked side by side, partners in every sense of the word. They shared the joys of watching children learn and grow. They supported each other through the challenges that inevitably came. At night, after the children were asleep, they would sit on their porch, watching the stars and talking about their day. Sometimes they would simply sit in comfortable silence, Austin's arm around Lily's shoulders, both of them marveling at how their lives had changed. "You ever regret it?" Lily asked one evening. "Taking on so much responsibility?" "Never," Austin said without hesitation. "This is the best thing I have ever done. You and these children are the best thing that ever happened to me." "Even when Thomas let the horses out of the corral and we spent half a day rounding them up," Lily teased. "Even then," Austin said, laughing. "Though I did have a talk with him about being more careful with the gates." 2 years after their wedding, Lily discovered she was pregnant. The news filled both her and Austin with joy and a little trepidation. They already had 15 children at the orphanage by then. Could they handle one more? "This is different," Austin said, his hand on Lily's still flat belly. "This is our child, part of you and part of me." "All the children are ours," Lily said gently. "I know," Austin said, "and I love them all, but this one we made together, that is special." Their son was born in the spring of 1881, a healthy baby boy they named Andrew. The orphanage children were thrilled with the new addition, all wanting to help care for the baby. Austin was a devoted father, often found walking the floor at night with Andrew in his arms, singing off key lullabies. Watching Austin with their son, Lily fell in love with him all over again. He was so gentle, so patient, so full of wonder at this tiny life they had created. "I never knew I could love someone this much," Austin said one night, looking down at Andrew sleeping in his arms. "Except I feel the same way about you and about all our children. It seems my heart just keeps expanding." "That is what love does," Lily said, kissing his cheek. "It grows." The orphanage continued to flourish. By 1883, they had cared for more than 30 children over the years. Some had been adopted by families in the area. Others had grown old enough to make their own way in the world, though they always knew they had a home to return to at the O Ranch. Thomas, who was now 15, had become Austin's right-hand man, skilled with horses and cattle. Emma, at 13, helped Lily manage the household and tutored the younger children. Mary, Peter, and John had all found their places in the ranch family. Lily became pregnant again, and in 1884 they welcomed a daughter named Anna. Again, the orphanage children celebrated the new arrival, and again, Austin proved himself a wonderful father. "Two of our own and dozens more we have loved," Lily said one evening as they watched their children, both biological and adopted, playing in the yard. "I think we have been blessed beyond measure." "I think you are right," Austin said, pulling her close. "When I first saw you outside that old church, caring for those orphan children, I never imagined this would be my life. I thought I was just a lonely rancher. But you showed me what life could be. You showed me what love could be. You gave me the means to do what I always dreamed of," Lily said. "You gave me support and partnership and love. We did this together." "Together," Austin agreed, kissing her temple. As the years passed, Austin and Lily grew old together, surrounded by the children they had raised. Some of those children brought their own families to visit, introducing Austin and Lily as Mama and Papa to a new generation. The O Ranch became known not just for its cattle and horses, but as the home of the Oakley Orphanage, a place where lost children found love. On their 25th wedding anniversary, the community of Rawhide threw a celebration in their honor. Nearly 100 people attended, including dozens of former orphans who had come from across the territory to thank the couple who had given them a chance at life. "You changed this town," the mayor said in his speech. The same mayor who had once refused to help the orphanage now praised it publicly. "You showed us what compassion looks like, what love looks like. You made us all better." Austin stood to respond, Lily's hand in his. "My wife is the hero of this story," he said. "She is the one who had the vision and the courage to help children when no one else would. I just provided some resources. She provided the love. We did it together," Lily corrected, smiling up at him. "That is what partners do." That night, after all the guests had left and the house was quiet, Austin and Lily sat on their porch as they had done countless times before. They were older now, both with gray in their hair and lines on their faces, but their love was as strong as ever. "You remember that day I proposed?" Austin asked. "Right there in front of everyone, with the judge threatening to close the orphanage. I remember thinking you were crazy," Lily said, laughing. "Proposing like that, so sudden." "It worked out, though," Austin said. "It worked out perfectly," Lily agreed. "Though I still think about that scared woman in the falling down church, wondering how she would feed 7 children. She had no idea what was coming. I think about that lonely rancher who saw a beautiful woman caring for orphans and fell in love," Austin said. "He had no idea what was coming either." "We have had a good life," Lily said softly. "The best life," Austin corrected. He pulled her close and she rested her head on his shoulder. "I love you, Lily Oakley. I have loved you from the first moment I saw you, and I will love you until my last breath." "And I love you," Lily said. "My anonymous benefactor, my partner, my love." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the stars come out over the Wyoming prairie. Inside the house, their children and grandchildren slept peacefully. The orphanage that had started with nothing but faith and determination had become a legacy of love that would continue for generations. In the distance, a coyote howled. Somewhere on the ranch, a horse whinnied. The wind rustled through the grass, carrying the scent of sage and wildflowers. It was the same wild Wyoming that had greeted Lily when she first arrived all those years ago, but it felt like home now. A home she had built with Austin. A home filled with love and laughter and children who had been given a second chance at life. As Austin and Lily sat together under the stars, their lives intertwined as completely as their fingers were now, they knew they had found what most people spend their whole lives searching for. They had found purpose, partnership, and a love that had not only sustained them but had spread to touch countless lives. The orphanage would continue long after they were gone, a testament to what could be accomplished when someone cared enough to act, and when love was given freely, without expectation of return. But more than that, Austin and Lily had found each other, two lonely souls who had come together to create something beautiful. Years later, when they were both very old, Austin would still make the trip into Rawhide occasionally. He would pass by the old church where he had first seen Lily, and he would remember that moment when his life had changed forever. The church had been torn down long ago, replaced by a proper school, but Austin could still see it in his mind's eye. Could still see a young woman kneeling in the dirt, talking gently to frightened children, her compassion shining like a beacon. That was the moment he had begun to love her, though he had not known it then. That was the moment his life had found its true purpose. One spring morning, when Austin was 73 and Lily was 70, they took a walk around the ranch together. It was harder now, their steps slower, but they still made the effort. They walked past the main house, past the orphanage building that had been expanded many times over the years, past the schoolhouse where a new generation of children were learning their letters. "We did well," Lily said, surveying all they had built together. "We did better than well," Austin said. "We created something that will outlast us, something that matters." "The children matter," Lily said. "Every single one of them, every life we touched, every child we saved, that matters." "You matter," Austin said, stopping to cup her face in his weathered hands. "You matter most of all. You are the reason for all of this. Your heart, your compassion, your strength. You are the miracle, Lily." "We are the miracle," Lily corrected, as she always did. "Together." They kissed, a gentle kiss that still held all the love of their youth. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. "Come on," Austin said. "Let us go see what the children are up to. I heard the new boy, James, was having trouble with his arithmetic. I thought I might help." "And Emma's daughter is coming to visit today with her new baby," Lily said. "Our great-grandchild. Can you imagine?" "I can imagine anything now," Austin said, taking her hand. "You taught me that. You taught me that impossible things can happen when you have faith and love." They walked back to the house hand in hand, their steps slow but sure. Behind them, the Wyoming wind blew across the prairie, carrying with it the sounds of children playing, horses neighing, and life continuing in the place that love had built. The orphanage that had started with nothing but one woman's determination and one man's anonymous generosity had become a home for hundreds of children over the decades. It had become a symbol of hope, not just for orphans, but for everyone who believed that love could change the world. And at the center of it all were Austin and Lily Oakley, whose love story had begun in the most unlikely way and had grown into something that would be remembered for generations. They had taken a chance on each other, had built a life together from nothing, and in doing so had given countless children the gift of family. Their legacy was not wealth or land or cattle, though they had all of those things. Their legacy was love, pure and simple. Love given freely, love that transformed, love that saved. And that love would continue long after they were gone, living on in the hearts of all the children they had raised and all the lives they had touched. As the sun set over the Triple O Ranch that evening, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, Austin and Lily sat on their porch one more time. They were surrounded by family, by children and grandchildren, and even a few great-grandchildren now. The porch was crowded and noisy, full of laughter and conversation. But for a moment, Austin and Lily only saw each other. Their eyes met, and no words were needed. They had said everything that mattered over the course of their life together. They had lived a love story that had changed not just their own lives, but the lives of everyone around them. "Thank you," Austin said softly, so only Lily could hear. "For what?" Lily asked, though she was smiling because she knew. "For everything," Austin said. "For loving me. For letting me love you. For building this life with me. For being the most remarkable woman I have ever known." "Thank you for being my anonymous benefactor," Lily said, her eyes twinkling. "For seeing what I was trying to do and helping me do it. For loving the children. For loving me." "Always," Austin said. "I will always love you." "And I will always love you," Lily said. They kissed one more time as the sun dipped below the horizon, surrounded by the family they had built together. It was the perfect ending to a love story that had begun with a woman who cared too much and a man who had learned to open his heart. But it was not really an ending at all. It was a continuation, a legacy that would go on, generation after generation, proof that love could conquer anything, that compassion could change the world, and that two people who dared to care could make a difference that would last forever. The orphanage would continue. The children would be loved and raised and given chances they might never have had otherwise. And at the heart of it all would always be the story of Austin and Lily, the rancher and the woman who opened an orphanage with nothing, whose love had built an empire of hope. Their story was the story of the best of the Wild West, a time and place where life was hard but hearts could be soft, where survival was a daily challenge but love could still flourish. They had taken the rough, unforgiving landscape and made it bloom. They had taken broken children and made them whole. They had taken two lonely hearts and made them one, and they had done it all with love, the kind of love that poets write about and singers sing about, the kind of love that changes everything, the kind of love that lasts forever. As darkness fell over the ranch, and the stars began to appear in the vast Wyoming sky, the Oakley family remained on the porch, together. And somewhere in the night, if you listened carefully, you could hear the echo of a promise made 25 years ago by a scared woman and a brave man, a promise to love and cherish and build a life together. It was a promise they had kept every single day since. And it was a promise that would echo through the ages, a reminder that love, true love, was the most powerful force in the world. More powerful than money, more powerful than circumstances, more powerful than anything that could stand in its way. Austin and Lily Oakley had proved that. They had lived it, and their legacy would live on forever, a testament to what two people could accomplish when they loved each other and dared to dream of a better world. The end of their story was really just the beginning of countless other stories, of children who grew up to have children of their own, of love that multiplied and spread, of hope that refused to die. And at the center of it all, always and forever, were Austin and Lily, whose love had started it all. Their story was complete, their lives full, their love eternal. They had fought the good fight, they had kept the faith, and they had loved with all their hearts. What more could anyone ask for? What more could anyone hope to achieve in the grand story of the Wild West, of cowboys and cattle drives, of gold rushes and gunfights, of heroes and villains? The story of Austin and Lily Oakley might seem small, but to the hundreds of children whose lives they touched, to the community they helped build, to each other, their story was everything. It was the story of how love could overcome any obstacle, how compassion could change lives, how two people, by daring to care, could create a legacy that would last forever. It was, quite simply, the greatest love story ever told in the rough and tumble territory of Wyoming. And as the last light faded from the sky and the Oakley family finally headed inside, the ranch settled into peaceful silence. But it was not an empty silence. It was full of the echoes of laughter, of children's voices, of prayers answered and dreams fulfilled. It was the silence of contentment, of a life well lived, of love that had conquered all. Austin and Lily climbed into bed that night, as they had done for 25 years, wrapped in each other's arms. And as they drifted off to sleep, they knew that whatever tomorrow brought, they would face it together, as they had faced everything together since that day when a wealthy rancher had become an anonymous benefactor, and a determined woman had opened an orphanage with nothing but faith. Together they had created a miracle. Together they had built a legacy of love. Together they had proved that anything was possible. And together they would continue, for as long as they both should live, to love and cherish each other and the family they had built. It was, in every sense, a happily ever after. The kind that only comes from true love, real sacrifice, and the courage to care when no one else will. The kind that changes the world one child one day, one moment of kindness at a time. The Wild West might have been wild, but in one corner of Wyoming at the Triple O Ranch, love had tamed it. Love had made it home. And that love would shine like a beacon for generations to come, a reminder that no matter how hard life gets, love will always find a way. Austin and Lily Oakley had found that way. They had walked it together, and they had shown everyone around them that love, true love, was worth fighting for, worth sacrificing for, worth everything. Their story was complete. Their love was eternal, and their legacy would live forever, the end.